Greetings gamers and welcome back to another episode of Retro Raider. My name is Johnny Retro and guys, today I have some really interesting Nintendo items to share with you guys. Yep, that is right, toys, but no, these are not toys that I have here, not technically. Video games, that's right, I got a very interesting bundle with a couple of Super Nintendo and NES games, and of course that I couldn't miss the opportunity to share this with you guys. Now let me tell you in advance that I'm not going to keep all of these games for myself. I mean, this is really the way to collect for me. I think that, you know, the best option that we have these days, because of course, you know, retro gaming definitely is not what it used to be. I'm talking about retro gaming collecting. It's definitely not what it used to be, you know, like 12 years ago or 10 years ago. It is becoming a very expensive hobby in some areas. So I think that this is a really good approach. We buy a bundle of games, we keep what we want for our collections, and then we can, you know, resell and use the rest for trades. I've been collecting like this for a very long time now, and I think that it is a really good approach because, of course, that it gives me the opportunity to get my games, you know, very inexpensive. Sometimes, you know, for free in the sense that the rest of the games kind of cover the whole bundle. And it also gives us the opportunity to provide, you know, fair prices to fellow collectors. And or here is an advice. Use it as trades. Use your doubles or the games that you don't want for your collections for trades. Especially if you collect, you know, for example, for a system, let's say that you collect for Sega Mega Drive, and you have a friend that collects for the Super Nintendo. Use it as a trade, because if you find Super Nintendo stuff in your bundles, and if your friend finds, you know, Sega stuff, Mega Drive stuff, or Genesis stuff, just trade with each other, because it's, in my opinion, a really smart way to collect these days. So with that out of the way, let's take a closer look at my recent Nintendo pickups right after this. Okay, I already took the liberty of taking the address for obvious reasons. What do we have here? Let's start with the Super Nintendo stuff. There's 3 Super Nintendo games here. This is all PAL, by the way. Let's start with NBA Live 97. Yeah, it's that thing within each bundle we always get, you know, sports titles. I really don't care for sports titles anymore. Not saying that they're bad, nothing like that. I mean, you do you. If you like sports games, you know, do it, of course. Not for me, though, but, you know, NBA Live 97. Then 2 very interesting Disney games right here. First, we have Pinocchio for the Super Nintendo. I would love to own the Mega Drive version of the game. Next, we have the one and only Mickey Mania. This is actually going to a friend of mine. I know that he's going to make, you know, a video or an Instagram or a TikTok video on it, because he has the manual and the box, but not the game, so there it is. And that's pretty much it for Super Nintendo, just these 3 games. Let's start with the NES. Now, first of all, the iconic Donkey Kong Classics. I already have this one. I love Donkey Kong on the NES. If you're starting out in collecting for the NES, I think that this is a great place to start this specific game of Donkey Kong Classics. One single pack, Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Jr. in one single game. We have, of course, the classic Mario and Duck Hunt. Let's keep going with some more Disney action, DuckTales. I really enjoy DuckTales. I have this one. I also have DuckTales 2. Very, very fun platformers. And just out of curiosity, guys, which one do you prefer, DuckTales 1 or 2? Let me know down below. Okay, next we have the Goonies 2. I don't own the game, and I'm a huge fan of the movie. I mean, it's Goonies. Who doesn't like the Goonies? But I don't know, it seems one of those NES titles, you know, based on the movie, of course, but a very generic platformer. I don't know about this one, but I mean, it's the Goonies 2 for the NES. Now, this is where it starts to get interesting. We have the Blues Brothers. It's not a super rare game, not a very expensive game, nothing like that, but it's kind of uncommon. I think that this is the second time that I came across the Blues Brothers on the NES. Fun game, interesting port, but in my opinion, I think that the version on the Commodore Amiga is the way to go if you want to play this game. Still, a very good port, the Blues Brothers on the NES. Then we have one of my personal favorites. I think that this game is beautiful. Dream Master, Little Nemo Dream Master. This is indeed a very fun game on the NES. Again, probably not as uncommon as Blues Brothers, but it's one of those there. It's getting there, and I mean, I just love the artwork on the label of this game. Dream Master. Now, speaking about uncommon games, we have Turrican for the NES. Turrican is awesome. I mean, it's one of those games that's just easy to pick up and play, very challenging, very fun, fast-paced, awesome side-scroller shooter. We also have some platforming elements on it. I mean, it's an awesome game. It's an iconic game. But to be fair, this was the first time that I actually played Turrican on the original NES. I don't know, I have mixed feelings. I think that, you know, the 16-bit versions of the game are far superior. And I do own Mega Turrican on the Mega Drive, and guys, that game is just a masterpiece. But this one is a decent port. It is indeed a decent port on the NES. So yeah, Turrican. Now, this next one, this is a rare game. And actually, a very good friend of mine is going to keep this game. Swamp Thing. Now, for all my fellow viewers from North America, yes, this game is very rare and very expensive in your region, but here's the deal. Usually, Nintendo stuff overall, but especially NES stuff, it's way more common and cheaper on North America than compared to Europe. That's logical because, you know, Nintendo was not very big here. This was kind of a, you know, a Sega place, especially here in Portugal. And not that people didn't play NES back in the day, nothing like that, but when it comes to the original hardware, I mean, most people, at least here in Portugal again, but also in other places in Europe, people had a lot of contact with Nintendo games through the Famiclones, not the NES. So yeah, we can say that overall, North American NES games or products or items are cheaper compared to Europe. But sometimes there's, you know, these games that happen in the middle where this card, for example, I really don't know the price here exactly, and you guys know me, I don't like to talk about prices, but I will dare to say that this cartridge, PAL region, I don't know, what, 70 euros, maybe a little bit less. The North American version, the cards only, 150 up to 200. And I'm not kidding, go to eBay right now, on the sold listings. Yeah, this game is, it's expensive. It's one of those games. It's expensive on the North America region. In Europe, yes, it is expensive, but way cheaper. Same thing, funny enough, with DuckTales 2 and Stadium Events. I will dare to say that Stadium Events, it's not even within, you know, the top 15 most rare and expensive NES games in the PAL region. But about the game, Swamp Thing, is it worth it? Is it worth the price? Not as a collectible, but as the game itself, well, in my opinion, no. The game sucks. Yeah, the game just sucks. It doesn't look terrible, but, you know, I don't know, the game design, it's horrible. And the gameplay mechanics, the controllers, it's yeah, it's one of those games. It's not that good, which is a shame because that's one of the reasons why I love the NES. It's the playability. I think that the gameplay mechanics overall on the NES is really, really good. Unless you're a hardcore collector, unless you're going for a full set, and nothing wrong with that. Just don't waste your money on this one. So yeah, I'm going to make a really nice deal to a good friend because I'm just that type of a collector. I do have a lot of games, but I don't like to keep games just to have them on the shelf, you know, just to say that I have it. I don't care about that. I prefer to offer, you know, a good deal to a friend and just, you know, use the money and the space, of course, to get the games that I really want to play, that I really want to have on my collection. And speaking about the games that I'm going to put on my collection, let's just get rid of the box. These are the games that I'm most excited for. Let's start with the most exciting one for me. This is Disney Adventures in the Magical Kingdom. It's one of those games. It is very cheap, very, very cheap to get, but kinda uncommon because you don't see it a lot of times, you know, even with bundles. And this is actually the first time that I got this cartridge. And again, Disney is fun. Everybody loves Disney. I think that Disney has some of the most amazing video games, or let's say that some of the most amazing video games ever made, especially during the 8-bit and the 16-bit era, especially platformers, are Disney games. And this one by Capcom is kind of a hidden gem within the Disney video game scene, especially on the NES. Because Disney, usually, we associate it with platformers, side-scrolling puzzle platformers. Let's say that most often these were classified as, children video games, or video games towards kids. But not this one, not Adventures in the Magic Kingdom. This is a game that I've always wanted to play. And I'm not kidding, I never played a game, not even on emulation. I've seen a lot of reviews, I've seen a lot of gameplay footage, and it is a game that I've always wanted to try. The concept is very simple. I mean, you're in a Disney theme park, right? And you need to grab keys in order to get into the Magic Kingdom, and then you go through different rides within the park, and you get the keys. So you have top view sections, you have kind of, slides down sections, you also have a side-scrolling section, and I still haven't tried the actual game out yet, but it looks challenging. It looks very challenging. So yeah, that's why I think that this is kind of a hidden gem within the Disney video game scene. So let me know about you guys. Let me know down below. Have you ever played this game, and what are your thoughts on it? Last two games. Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles. Not Ninja Turtles, but Hero Turtles. That is right, it is pretty much the same game, but the different name. It was just labeled differently here in Europe. Have I played the game? Of course that I've played the game. I've played both three Ninja Turtle games on the NES, but I don't own any. And my favorite one is actually the first one, this one right here. And by any means, this is probably one of the most common NES games out there. And I just say it, I mean, I like the game, but I don't own it. And I've had a lot of these cartridges, during the years in my hands. So this one is pretty much in a pristine condition. So I just said, screw it. I'm going to keep this one for the shelf here. The last game we have, kind of a classic, Hogan's Alley. A sure game, that is right, a light gun game for the Zapper, Hogan's Alley. Is it a fun game? Well, it is okay. It is the best light gun game on the NES. Well, no, but it is a decent Zapper game, and this is something that I find it fascinating about the NES, is that each console, especially during the 8-bit, 16-bit, and 32-bit era, light gun games were kind of big. Very gimmicky, yes, but very, very popular, especially during the 90s. And I'm not saying that, the NES light gun library is the best, or that the Zapper is the best light gun, nothing like that. But one thing I take my hat off to Nintendo is that during the NES era, Nintendo gave a huge support to light gun games. So that's why each time that I find one of these and I don't have it on my collection, I just keep it. So yeah, Hogan's Alley, a very nice addition to my NES collection. So guys, there you go. These were my recent pickups for the Super Nintendo and the NES. I just love to get new NES games for my collection. First of all, because I love the NES. I think that this is one of the best video game consoles ever made. And yeah, it's getting crazy. I mean, collecting for the NES, it's not easy, especially here in Europe, especially here in Portugal. And in my case, it's not for nostalgia. It's just for pure fun and respect for the brand Nintendo, because I wasn't around when these games came out, right? I didn't play during the 90s. I mean, I was born in '88. I started gaming at the very end of the 16-bit era, but looking back, retro gaming is not about age. It's not just about nostalgia. It's also about that, sure, but mostly it's about fun. It doesn't matter what type of games do you like to play. It doesn't matter from which era these games came from. If you're having fun, then you're doing it the right way. And I love the NES. I think that the NES is one of the best video game consoles of all time. So yeah, I was very happy to add these to my collection. And what about you guys? Let me know down below your thoughts on my recent Nintendo pickups. Let me know some of your favorite NES games, and just for fun, let me know what NES games, also Super Nintendo, but mostly NES games, are you looking for your collections right now? So let me know down below. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you have the extra time, feel free to follow me on social media. I'm on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And just one quick last note before I wrap up the video, guys. If you like Super Nintendo, especially Super Nintendo soundtracks, feel free to check out my brand new song. That is right, Call to Arms, a brand new song for the Super Nintendo that I made. Link down below. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Until then, take care of yourselves, take care of the gaming community, and game a lot.